So, if the EU is not a democracy, if Germany is not a democracy, if Greece is not a democracy, what is it?
Well, talking to a friend who's a political scientist, he was telling me that political science can classify Greece as an oligarchy with some applications of dictatorship.
All right, Young Naiv. Another episode. We're still in Athens, in Greece, and I have a young lady next to me. Can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Stefania Xidia. I am originally a cultural manager, but now I work more in social entrepreneurship.
What does that mean?
It means how we create sustainable organizations that work in order to create jobs and create profit, yet with a very conscious social impact.
Doesn't this work these days? Are there no projects who make profit and also are social?
Yes, of course there are, but especially in Greece, there is a lot of demonization of entrepreneurship.
Really?
Yes, really.
They think bad of entrepreneurs.
Yes, until recently, being an entrepreneur was not related to improving society. So now,
Really?
probably as a byproduct of the crisis, also we have a new perception of entrepreneurship. And social entrepreneurship and the way we work is actually about showing how people with real social concerns and with innovative solutions for social problems can actually use entrepreneurship and be part of the real economy without the negative, probably, aspects of entrepreneurship as we knew it.
Tell me, explain to us the old school thinking, or maybe Greek thinking of entrepreneurship. When, like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when I started a business that I made up, people were skeptical.
I don't like to replicate stereotypes, but there has been a shift in the way we perceive entrepreneurship. So a lot of entrepreneurs, those who make money, were considered the bad guys, and the good guys were the ones that worked for the public sector.
Non-profit.
So not non-profit,
Okay.
either public sector.
Okay.
Or non-profit. Unfortunately, non-profits have also been demonized because in this country they have been created as parasites of political parties, and they have actually absorbed a lot of black money for private interests. So now we're also working on trying to show that the non-profit sector is a vital part of the economy. It's not just a money laundering mechanism for political parties or EU funding, but it can be actually sustainable organizations that provide social impact, create jobs, and also boost the economy.
So tell me how you think that can work. How can a new firm create jobs, be profitable, and also sustainable? How can that be good for the society?
I think that is exactly the way economy should work. I think Greece is an example of a paradigm shift that is happening at a global level. We have seen that focusing on profit only can have disastrous effects for our environment and our society. So I think it's not just a Greek problem, it's a global problem that we're also very strongly experiencing here because of the social and environmental effects of our economic breakdown. We're trying to work on more sustainable solutions.
Maybe give us an example of an old school way of doing things that was non-sustainable, and give us an example that you think is like a perfect example of how you consider your project and your way of thinking.
Yes, I can talk to you about Greek social enterprise. I would prefer to focus on the positive because
we need to compare.
Yes.
Tell me, give us maybe an easy example how an old school non-sustainable thing was run.
It could be any factory, for example, that would focus on maximizing profit, which would provide probably unhealthy environment for their workers, or also pollute the environment, not respect environmental laws, but have very good figures. So this could also be a society that has a great economy, but everybody's unhappy, unhealthy, and their environment is melting down.
Like America.
Could be, or many countries, unfortunately, are going through this. So I think, yes, what we're experiencing here is a great opportunity to provide new examples, not only for this country, but for others as well.
Give us an example.
For example, there is a Greek social enterprise which also exists in other countries, which has to do with the newspapers sold by homeless and poor people. So it is a business that provides formerly marginalized
Homeless
individuals
people who make profit.
who make profit. Yes, it gives them an opportunity to gain their dignity and sell newspapers. It covers a market need, which is information or the need to buy newspapers. Yet it does it in a way that focuses on providing jobs for these people, while of course disseminating information. And so it's a small shift in the way you do your business planning.
Why not fight for those homeless people to not be homeless anymore, to get like social security? Because I mean, I learned after a year of unemployment, you get nothing. So no wonder there are so many probably homeless.
Yes, of course. The fact is that the social enterprises and social projects that are developing in this country are actually doing it in a guerrilla way. Because guerrilla. So we are not able to intervene into politics for the moment. We have decision-making structures in this country that exclude civil society and exclude people with creative ideas. So in a sense, really, so in a sense, a lot of these solutions come from the outside of the official bodies. We cannot raise salaries, as activists. We cannot change laws for the moment, although we try to work on that too. But a lot of the creative solutions and in social innovation come from the unofficial, let's say, society. They are.
Why don't you join a party and change a party from within?
Yes, there is a very nice distinction between three types of change.
Okay.
If you want to bring incremental change, a small change, is to enter an existing party and make this party win. The small change would be to create a new party, right? And try to win with a new party and this new idea. This is also happening in Greece. What I'm interested in and what we're working on is on systemic change, which has to do with changing processes, changing structures, and changing mentalities. We believe that behavior and mentalities are shaped by the framework and by the context that either awards or punishes specific behaviors. So it's not a matter of Greek mentality or German mentality, it's a matter of what the framework is, what it supports, and what it fights. So what we try to do with our projects is to create, in a way, a parallel model, to create case studies and real projects that can show a different way of citizen engagement, a new way of dealing with the public space and with politics.
Don't you need, like, if you want to have fundamental change, system change, don't you need a new constitution?
Why do we need a new
don't you need a new constitution?
Yes, actually, this is one of the projects where we're working on with Politia 2.0. It has to do with
crowdsourcing a constitution?
Exactly.
Really?
Yes, exactly. We're trying to create a prototype process of building a new constitution through citizens' engagement.
For Greece or for Europe?
We're working on Greece for the moment, but the vision is to actually create a process that could be used by other countries or even the European Union.
Do you think maybe the EU needs a common constitution and then,
Yes, I believe in European integration, and I think that a constitution that puts forward some basic values and basic structures could be very useful.
What's wrong with the Greek constitution, for example? How do they? Do you say they systematically do something wrong? Like what?
It's not about saying that the constitution is the source of evil.
No.
Okay, it's we have to
interpret it, maybe.
Yes, the way it is interpreted, of course, but when you have a constitution that is being changed throughout the years, and even this year they're doing changes that make different articles contradictory, for example, or they give immunity to our members of parliament, or
Or
they
take it away. I heard about Golden Dawn members. They lost their immunity.
yes, or take it according to political interests, of course.
Oh,
Yes, not
okay.
according to justice, because justice is not really independent. So we're talking about the independence of the three powers, how to really ensure that justice is an independent body.
What are the three powers?
Excuse me.
What are the three powers?
The juridical, the legislative, and the executive. So basically, the judges, the parliament, and the ministers or the different executive bodies. In this country, these three powers are very closely related, with very dark interests that do not allow for real transparency and real meritocracy. So in a way, if you want...
So judges depend on politicians. Politicians depend on judges. They're not independent from each other.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and these are the big secrets that nobody talks about. But that's a fact. And when you have a justice system that does not work, then of course you have people that don't respect laws. Then of course you have corruption. You have lack of meritocracy. You have nepotism. These are consequences. This is not the identity or the mentality of Greece. These are consequences of very specific processes, very specific structures, and very specific laws that stem from the constitution.
Who makes those laws?
Who makes the laws?
The parties.
Of course, they make them.
I learned about Neo Democratia, PASOK. They've been in power for decades.
Exactly.
They're still in power.
Exactly.
So they're responsible for that?
Yes, and they have created laws that do not allow small parties to grow. Because, for example, the amount of TV time you get as a small party depends on the percentage you got in the past elections. That's a very simple example.
That's not fair.
Of course it's not fair. There are a lot of laws that are not fair, and it's very important to show the world and show our European colleagues that if we really want to change Greece, to boost the economy, we really have to work on these structural problems. If we don't focus on that, if we focus on numbers, okay, numbers are getting better, but you know what would be the worst thing for my generation? If the numbers are great and nothing else changes, and we end up being again in an economic development and with the same rotting system behind.
So you say, I mean, even in Germany, most of the politics care about the economy, but not about the country. I mean, the economy is part of identity of how a country works, but it's not the country.
Yes.
So do you think they focus too much on economy, on making money, and?
I think they focused on some assumptions. For example, that Greece is a democratic country and you have a democratically elected...
Is it?
Of course it's not. I do not believe we have achieved any democratic country in the world. And it would be very interesting to rediscover and redefine what democracy can be in this age, and with the tools we have, the technological tools,
right,
and the different possibilities of our age. So this, because I have talked a lot to German officials and European commissioners, etc., and of course they tell you, well, you have a democratically elected government, so we have to deal with them, and whatever they say is in the interest of the country. Well, no, I am sorry, this government is not democratically elected. You just have to look into our electoral system to understand why it is not a democratic system. Even though I don't consider that elections are democracy. Elections are a part of the democratic process. So that's another assumption. So we're talking here about really reinventing structures, reinventing systems, reinventing policies, and that doesn't have to do with Greece only.
I mean, let's just look at the European elections. Do you think the EU is democratic? I mean, you just said there's no democratic state or deity somewhere, but is the EU maybe more democratic or less democratic than Greece?
Well, I don't want to use this word, I think that this word has been so misused, so disguised with different adjectives and direct and indirect and representative and not representative. No, democracy is the rule of the people. So how can we make the rule of the people really effective, really to serve the interests of a country and of the European Union? Because I don't think right now the European Commission serves the interests of the European people.
Well,
And I think most of the
they're not even
European-
they can't even be voted in or out.
Exactly. So
The
no,
European Council decides that.
So maybe we do like the idea of democracy. Maybe we support democratic values, but that doesn't mean that we have a functioning democracy at a national or a transnational level. And I think that we are going to have very bad surprises in these European elections because exactly the European Union has not focused on serving its people and its different cultures and its different needs, and it has focused on serving numbers.
So, if the EU is not a democracy, if Germany is not a democracy, if Greece is not a democracy, what is it?
Well, talking to a friend who's a political scientist, he was telling me that political science can classify Greece as an oligarchy with some applications of dictatorship.
Dictatorship.
Yes.
Wow.
Oligarchy with some that's it. So there are some legal applications. For example, we will shut down the national TV, you know, from one day to another without asking anyone, just with a signature. That's not a very democratic process, is it? So we're not talking about ideologies here. We're talking about, you know, facts.
Power.
Facts. And, you know, facts show, if you see it very, very simply from a very historical, political science perspective, the way this country works cannot be classified as a democracy. I cannot tell you about Germany, you know better than me, but, you know, from what I hear, most people believe that they don't live in a democracy.
It doesn't sound like it. But what about the EU?
The EU, again, it is using some tools of democracy, and I do believe that it is based on fundamental democratic values, but again, I think it's outdated systems. It is not able to follow the needs of our generation, of the technologies we use, of our everyday life, and of different ways that civic engagement can take place nowadays, which is not only voting once every 4 years.
And you try to summarize. You try to find new ways of doing that.
Exactly, focusing on the small scale, on specific projects that have to do with urban environment, with interaction at a municipal level, but also trying new processes that have to do with, you know, writing, if not a constitution, but a new social contract for this. Trying what unifies us, what are our common values and our common priorities. Nobody's working on that. Nobody. They are all trying to see what divides, where we disagree, where we have to fight, what's the problem. No, what is the opportunity, what are the strong points of this country, what do these people want, and where we can work on together. So
Thank you very much.
thank you.